Hello there folks, and welcome back to another Tayar podcast. This episode will review the third final heat at Banshee Labyrinth for the Live and Wilder event hosted by Scotland Rocks Radio. We saw three bands that night compete for third place in the final, which is being hosted in June. This was for the Wildfire Festival at One Lock Hill, and it's for a position on the main stage. Heat 2 we saw Bad Actress go through, so Heat 3 we were interested to see, we decided to go back. We'll start off, the first band that was on, Hyperstasis. Neil, what's your thoughts?
Hyperstasis from Dundee. So they were just call them a generic metal band. I thought they were absolutely brilliant. The sound, the atmosphere that they brought with them, the set, well constructed. They'd been doing it a good long while by the looks of it. Talented musicians. I really enjoyed their set.
Yeah, my thoughts were similar. They were kind of defined as a new metal sound. However, I'm not quite sure if I can fully agree with that. Definitely a late 90s, early 2000s metal sound. I definitely got a Killswitch Engage vibe from them. There was that, but there was elements as well where I thought, oh, that sounded like Slipknot, something that Mick Thompson or Jim Root. But definitely on a whole, I thought it was very kind of more metalcore. There was a hardcore element, especially when the singer came off stage and sort of stormed around the crowd. He didn't exactly engage with the audience, i.e. like make facial expressions and sort of eye contact, but he did certainly come into the crowd and definitely dominate the stage. Yeah,
the bass player as well. The bass player bounced around in the crowd, appeared in front of my face at one point, which, because I wasn't paying attention to the bass player, it was quite a surprise. But then I just started pogoing with him, and it gave a great vibe to the set. Yeah,
it was a shame that there wasn't much of an audience there. We were all sparsed out, which was a shame.
First band on 7:30.
Yeah,
it was an early slot.
I didn't get that about the whole event though, because even the last one as well was about the same. It was 7:30 start, and it was Hollywood Vault.
Hollywood Vault, alright.
So yeah. Hollywood Vault, they started at 7:30, but there seemed to be a bit of a crowd for them. Mm-hmm. Whereas Hyperstasis, the room did feel a bit empty.
Well, Hyperstasis being a Dundee band, Hollywood Vault being an Edinburgh band.
Well, there's that as well, so, yeah. But again, it's what we're all about, is live music. Yeah. So you would have thought that if someone was impressed by the first two heats, because we missed the first heat, so you would have thought that if someone was impressed by the acts of the first heat, if someone listens to Scotland's rock radio, and if someone's passionate about rock music or metal music and they love live gigs,
they'll be there on time. Yeah,
they would turn up at least. But no, I thought they conducted themselves very well. I'm convinced actually that I've seen them before. My friend Doogie Noble, I can't remember the name of the band, but there was a guy from Dundee. Doogie was playing with him, and they were the mid band that was on, and I'm sure it was Hyperstasis that were on after them. So yeah, dissecting the band then, the singer, the 4-piece singer, bassist, one guitarist who done an absolute fantastic job. He did some sort of lead accompaniment work as well, and you had the drummer. So let's talk about the bass player. Bass player was quite loud actually, for being in the mix of the room. Now I don't know if that was down to the sound engineering as a whole, or if it was just in terms of the way that they're normally set up, but he was very dominant in performance. Moving on to the drummer, it was announced actually that the drummer that's not their usual drummer that they have in the band. This drummer was filling in, and he had 2 weeks to learn the set, but I don't, in reflection, I can't say that there were any mistakes made. He played with such precision. There was double kick involved as well, and the punctuation within his fills It matched the music, or what the structure and the songs were. It matched it perfectly. You know, for him having 2 weeks to learn that part was phenomenal. Guitarist, I was actually quite interested by what he was doing. He wasn't normally sitting back like what sort of modern metal, sort of chuggy riffs, sort of their guitar parts are mainly more chuggy riffs, and they kind of sit back. They're too afraid to explore what other elements they could do on a fretboard. But no, this guitarist was really good. He used tapping melodic passages through the verses, even the choruses in fact. So he actually took away, the bass player would come in with the heavy tonal references, and he would give you that general chord structure, where over the top the guitarist would do some form of melody. And of course with the electronic accompaniment in there, so with the bass and the electronic accompaniment, you had that choral fulfillment, so that accompaniment was there, which freed up the guitarist to have a more melodic part. Really good.
I mean, I agree 100%.
I wasn't able to get a set list because I didn't print set lists off, but most of the songs that they had, I think, came from their new EP, which we've got a copy. Their music is under this podcast, actually. It's all Hyperstasis music under this podcast. Make sure you check them out on Spotify and YouTube. I know that they've got their older releases up on YouTube. They might be a bit more available on Spotify. Not that I like to promote Spotify, but if it's the way that the modern people listen to music, definitely check them out. Hyperstasis were really cool, and
Crusaders. Let's move on to Crusaders, the second band.
Without a doubt, they were the best band of the night.
Okay, so you've gone in early with your favourite band? No?
I haven't.
Okay,
they weren't my favourite band, but in general, they were definitely the best band of the night.
See, I'm on the other side of the coin. Hyperstasis were far and above the best band musically for me on that night.
That's okay. You're allowed to
I'm allowed my opinion. Of course I'm allowed my opinion.
Now, prior to actually going to the event, this is the band that I look forward to seeing. I asked the guy from Scotland Rocks Radio, the host, and he said, yeah, Crusaders, they're definitely a band that you want to check out. But finally I got the opportunity to, and I was overwhelmed. I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I think the only word that I can use, which I spoke to the bass player after the performance, and the only word that I can use to describe Crusaders is intense. Without a doubt, intense. It just made me think of mid-80s, and it made me think of two bands in particular, Slayer, without a doubt, and 1986 Master of Puppets Metallica, because there was elements in it. Their song Warrior, it's actually a homage to their original singer, Bob, may he rest in peace. He passed away to cancer. I think it was fairly recently. And if you actually go and listen to it, go and check it out, there's elements of it that are clear as day. It sounds kind of like Fade to Black. I instantly thought, they're a way to do a cover, but no, they're not. It was lyrically, it was everything about Bob and his presence, how it still remains within that band. So we've no idea what he was like, how he performed or how he acted, or what he was, but it was clear as day that Crusaders is keeping going, and they're keeping the spirit of Bob in that band, and I thought that was brilliant.
It's a beautiful thing. No, it is a beautiful thing. It's
so, I mean, you could tell, I think his name's Jamie, the main dude, shall we say.
Check out Gavin's short interview with Jamie. There's a video on our YouTube channel
where I interviewed the band. This was at the final. Sorry, we're a bit delayed with the podcast, so we've actually seen the final. So that'll be a separate interview. They're humble guys, actually. They're really
lovely
humble guys. They're passionate about what they do. The bass player and the singer-guitarist, they've played together in a couple of bands before. But Crusaders, let's go back to the actual event that night. Yes, their music was thrash metal. Yes, it was fast. Yes, it was heavy. Yes, the drummer was incredibly accurate with his timing. I mean, it was absolutely impeccable timing. He did not slip a beat. He did not to screw up his fills. His parts were nailed perfectly, and the whole set, I can only describe it. Let's go for a 24-foot wall.
Wall of sound.
Just coming at you at 70 miles an hour. Going back to the first band, Hyperstasis, Neil was talking about the getting surprised by the bass player sort of wandering around the crowd. The bass player in Crusaders done the exact same thing. His movement was weird. Kind of zigzagged his way through the crowd in a pulsing pattern, and it was undeniable, you could not miss it. Neil and I were on a job one day, and Neil decided to put Scotland Rock's radio on the band, and they mentioned, they actually brought up Crusaders, and I was really looking forward to listening to one of their songs, but they didn't play it. But they spoke about Crusaders being arguably the best band that the host of Scotland Rock Radio on that episode had seen right now in modern time. And I can clearly understand why. It was such a professional level that they put out there. I have never seen an underground band or like a local gig perform exactly like that. I mean, that was a step beyond. Crusaders is an up-and-coming young band from Glasgow that very few people know their name because we don't have enough media supporting new music. That's what it needs to be. They've definitely gained a fan. Like I know I've said that about a few bands that are there, and yeah, if you check out our social media pages, we do frequently share and engage with the artists and bands that we've seen through Tayar podcasts. But Crusaders are absolutely phenomenal, and I can't believe that I'm saying this, but I actually want to see them again. Like, I definitely want to see them again. They are absolutely brilliant, absolutely incredible.
And check out their social media. Like, subscribe their YouTube page, go and find them, listen to them, and make your own opinion. But those guys know how to play their instruments, and they know how to put on a show.
What was your thought about them?
Oh, I loved them.
What was your thought about the sound?
Yeah, it's a wall of sound that hits you at 70 mile an hour, as you said, but it's not. It's played perfectly, so it's not like they're just thrashing away. They're playing notes. They've constructed songs. They know what they're doing musically, and that's the genre that they've chosen to show it through.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're a bunch of guys out the pub just throwing some instruments on. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. To spoil it, they won that night. Well, they won Heat 3 and made their way into the final, which was hosted on the 6th of June.
Which you may have got a spoiler for earlier, because I told you that Gavin interviewed them at the final.
Yeah. They definitely deserve to go through that night. But there's even better news, which I'll announce later on. I'll announce at the end. So there's even better news, which
Excellent.
I'm absolutely stoked for. Anyway, sorry Neil, as you say, final band.
Final band.
Wrecker.
So, didn't know what to expect from Wrecker. They came on, they were, I don't know how we put it, a bunch of middle-aged men came on the stage, played perfectly. Musically, very good. Atmosphere seemed to die. I don't know why. After the first two bands, you've just had your head blown off by...
Right, so you need to take that into consideration, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you're a blind, not physically blind, but imagine you're a blind, oblivious punter that's just walked in. Okay, I'm going to see live music in Banshee Labyrinth tonight in Edinburgh. You stay for the first band. Electronic sort of synthy parts and that, and then right, and then you've got all this like heavy thrash wall of sound stuff. That was two heavy performances which are very specific.
Yes.
Genres of music.
Specific.
They're not an open market where people can go, oh yeah, I can dig that, or yeah, I like a little bit of it. You have to be into that genre of music to appreciate the band.
Yes.
Right?
So, Wrecker. Easygoing rock and roll.
That's kind of the way that I would market it.
Yeah.
I'm not being derogative towards the band. I'm going to state it now. Wrecker were my favourite band of that night. Crusaders were the best band of that night, but Wrecker were definitely my favourite band of the night. I was down the front, I was bopping away, I was kind of nodding along to it, I was grooving to it. I thoroughly enjoyed the music of Wrecker. I thought these guys are brilliant.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
Talented musicians playing great
That guitarist was
rock music.
Awesome. I even said that to him. That guitarist was flawless. It was kind of generic 80s rock music. If you check out our Instagram, all the bands are on there, so Wrecker's on there. I'm sure the video is, I think the song's called Shoot Shoot, and it's just such a, as you say, it's easy going rock and roll. You can find the pulse, you can find the groove, and you can just nestle in and, you know, kind of boogie and dance to it. Yeah, man, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought they were the best band of the night because it was music that everyone could get into. Wrecker are a 4-piece band from Dundee. Band originally set up doing covers. I'm sure it was sort of Iron Maiden and Def Leppard and kind of Rat and Poison, that sort of glam rock, hair metal sort of stuff. Because the guitarist was technical, like he knew what he was doing. But I was also watching what chords he was doing, and he was playing extremely safe. Most of it was in the key of A, which I thought was very interesting. I can't remember the song, but there's a song that they do. In fact, it's on Spotify. It was number 1 in Denmark. There's one radio station chart in Denmark, and they got to number 1 on it. I think that's an absolute phenomenal accomplishment.
Yeah, you said the Wyatt on Planet Rock gave them a...
So that was the morning after. I found out, was it Facebook? We've got a Facebook account now as well, by the way. So Tayar Podcast is available on YouTube, Instagram and Facebook. But it was on either Instagram or Facebook that I found out Wrecker had to put up on their status that Wyatt gave them a shout out and a brief gig review of their performance there at Banshee Labyrinth, which I thought was brilliant. I mean, hats off to them. I really enjoyed it. It's just that kind of, early to mid 80s, even late 70s maybe, but it's that good vibe rock and roll stuff.
Oh yeah, they definitely gave you a good vibe. They gave you a smile on your face and a happy feeling, which wasn't a 70-mile-an-hour wall of sound hitting you.
It was a nice calm down.
Yeah, the people should have stayed and appreciated it more. You know.
I think there were some people that specifically came through to see them, which was cool.
But the crowd
definitely
already dispersed. Yeah. And then they all came back in afterwards and voted for Crusaders, which I voted for Hyperstasis.
I didn't. I don't know if I actually said this to any of the bands that night. We brought my friend along to it, and he also, like Neil, voted for Hyperstasis. But I made it very clear to the boys, I didn't vote. Now, Neil and I had been speaking about it. What Neil said was we shouldn't buy a ticket, because if we buy a ticket through one of the bands, that's us pledging a vote to one of those bands, and we don't know them. That's how Tayar podcasts work. We don't know the band, we only know them by name, and we'll come and see you. So we paid on the door, £10, no problem, we got entered. Phenomenal music. I mean, it was a phenomenal night of music.
For £10?
For £10.
Three live bands?
3 bands, yeah, who just were brilliant. I mean, they were absolutely phenomenal. So as a result, I didn't feel it was fair to vote. I thought each one of those bands deserved to go through to the final.
Three totally different genres of music.
I can't say that about the actual final.
Yeah.
And you'll learn about that in another podcast. And I can't even say that about Heat 2. But this one, all 3 of them had equal points of merit.
In different genres.
In different genres.
Which is
absolutely
just unfair.
And that's why I don't know what your thought process was about it, but I couldn't vote. I refused to vote. Not that it would have made a difference anyway, because I think there was 19 points of difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would have voted for Wrecker that night. Wrecker would have got my vote, because I just loved it. So
you've got some news, you said.
Alright, so as I said previously, we're talking about the final Heat 3, which is hosted on the 16th of May. Neil and I went to the actual final as well, which is hosted on Friday the 6th of June there, where, spoiler alert, Bad Actress won it. So you had from Heat 1, which we did not attend, you had a band called In Charge, they're from Glasgow. Heat 2, which we did attend, that was the first one. You can find that podcast uploaded on our YouTube page. You had Bad Actress, the winner of that one. And then Heat 3, which we're talking about, was Crusaders, they won that one. So in the final you had In Charge, Bad Actress and Crusaders. The winner of the Live and Wilder contest was Bad Actress, who we'll just admit now. So they got a position on the bill, but I can't remember when it was. Anyway, Crusaders are now also a part of the One Lock Hill bill.
Oh,
so they're going to play at Wildfire Festival, which is just fantastic.
that's great for them.
Oh, totally. It's predominantly a rock event. So if you paint a picture in your mind what you think rock music is, then more or less that's what's going to be there at the thing. For Crusaders, a thrash metal band, i.e. a band that definitely stands out from rock and roll genre, they're definitely blown away by that. So good luck to them. I hope they get a lot more fans with that. I was really, really happy to have seen that because, as I say, for me, both Bad Actress and Crusaders should have gone through, and essentially they have. So I'm more than happy. Is there anything that you'd like to add about this episode, Neil?
No, I think we've covered everything. Go out, see live music, follow us on our socials, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah. So, thanks to everyone who is. For the Vukovi video, we haven't had a lot of views, but that's like kind of poor marketing on our part as well, I guess. But to all the people that have done, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody that's been watching our reels as well. As Neil said earlier, yeah, there's live interviews that I've done with both Bad Actress and Crusaders. Check them out. They're kind of date specific. Thanks to everybody that keeps watching the band reels as well. We're getting 180 to 160 plays. You know, go out and support live music. That's what we're all about. We've now got a Facebook page which is poorly run on my part. I can only apologise for that. I'm more of an Instagram guy, so we keep using that. We've got YouTube as well. It's all Tayar podcasts, so follow us and we look forward to seeing you at the next gig. Thanks for listening. Support live music. Take care.